Hello vinyl community, this is Randy, back today with another video. Today's video is going to be a response to Alex at Motoric 247, Motoric 247, I'm not really sure how you pronounce that word, but Alex, whose channel name is Motoric 247, has come up with an experimental vinyl tag. I've seen several really good responses to this tag so far, so figured I would take a stab at it. So he's come up with 8 questions, and yeah, so let's get started. The first question or prompt that he asked us to show a record for is a record with improvised music. I have this record called First Meeting, Live in London Volume 1. This is a Lee Konitz record. Lee Konitz is a mostly an alto saxophonist. I think he also plays some soprano sax on this record. On this record, he is playing with Dan Tepfer, Michael Janisch, and Jeff Williams, and it is all improvised. He tells us in the liner notes for this record that this was the first time these 4 musicians performed together as a unit, and the recording was completely spontaneous in nature. There was no rehearsal, plan, or preconceived notion of the music's end result. Under Mr. Konitz's instruction, anyone on the bandstand could simply start playing a melody, and the rest of the band could follow or not. So yeah, complete improvisation, I think, on that record. This is cool record on this cool purple vinyl on Whirlwind Recordings, the name of that label. A record featuring Moog synthesizer, Moog or Moog synthesizer. I have this record by Camel called Mirage. Fantastic album cover, one of my favorite album covers. Camel was a British band, I think, from the early 70s, prog rock. Here's what they look like. And in the notes here for this record, I am told that Peter Bardens plays organ, piano, and, well, some other instruments, and mini Moog. So mini Moog is what is used on this record. That's on Passport Records. I'm pretty sure this is a reissue. I'm not exactly sure what year that's from. A record with field recorded sound. The background music that we're hearing right now is field recorded sound. This is the Langley Schools music project. Langley Schools music project. This is some music that was recorded in 1976 and 77 by a music teacher up there in Canada. Oh, I forgot what city he was living in. Somewhere in Canada, though, Western Canada, in a small town. He mentions in the notes in here, he recorded this in 76, that when he was living there, most of the kids were still riding to school on their horses. So these are kids, I think, 9 to 12 years old for the most part. They play the music and they do the singing. And I think it fits as a field recording because it wasn't recorded in a studio. It's not a, well, it's recorded in a natural environment of a high school gym. So I think that qualifies as a field recording. But in case it doesn't, one that I'm sure would be a field recording is this is a framed record I usually have on my wall, right over there. But this is 500 Miles to Glory, recorded on the scene at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So this would definitely be a field recording. It's a very cool record. Sounds of racing. Okay, a record with a drone sound. The Mirrors, Myrrors. I think they are an American band, an experimental band for the most part. This record actually could have it could have been used for several of the prompts. But all of side 2 of this record is a song called Note from the Underground. And starts out with a long droning sound. There's lots of droning throughout it. So the Mirrors, I think it was recorded in 2019, I believe, for that record. Came with a poster in it. And this record is almost the same color as that Lee Konitz record. Sort of a maroon type color or magenta or something like that. This was on, oh gosh, what is this record label? Oh yeah, Beyond is Beyond Records. The next prompt is a record with spoken word. Harumi. This has been shown a lot, I think, in the vinyl community over the years. I've seen a few people showing it. This one was actually sent to me by Vinyl Richie a couple of years ago, and so it looks like fantastic album cover. This is a 2-record set, and a lot of it is just sort of standard sounding psychedelic music. Sounds very good. But all of side 3 is called Twice Told Tales of the Pomegranate Forest. It goes on for 24 minutes, and it is all spoken word. It is 2 people talking back and forth. I think it is Harumi and maybe like his spiritual advisor or something like that. They are having a, well, I guess you would call it, I mean, sometimes it almost doesn't necessarily sound like they're talking to each other. They're both just talking. But I think they're supposed to be responding to each other. So, yeah, this is a very extremely cool record on Verve Forecast. I think this came out, I think it came out in the mid-70s. When that came out. So yeah, that was a record with spoken word. A record with a process instrument or voice. Frampton Comes Alive. 1976 album by Peter Frampton. On this album, he processes his voice through his guitar. I think it's called I think the instrument, the device was called a talk box, which I think was somehow a thing that was connected to his guitar, and then I think it fit into his mouth or something like that. So yeah, this was a very popular album when it came out in the mid-70s, and Do You Feel Like We Do, I think, was the hit song that really used that. It was used several times on the album, but used that talk box effect quite a bit. So that was a process instrument or voice, process voice. Process instrument, I will show you this Robert Fripp. This is a Robert Fripp album. When this record came out, he advertised it as the first 2 record set on one record. One side of it is called God Save the Queen. The other side is called Under Heavy Manners. And on this record, he uses Frippertronics. Frippertronics are where he would record a guitar part, record it onto a tape, then he would loop that tape and repeat it over and over, and then he would record some more guitar or other sounds over the top of that. So, processed guitar on that one. A record from the Nurse with Wound list. I had to look up I didn't have to look it up because Alex posted the link to it on his, in the description of his video. So 291 bands, I think, are on that list. I think that's what it said. So, oh, here's the inner sleeve of that Robert Fripp. This is where he describes the whole recording process of this record. And this is Polydor. Oh yeah, so the Nurse with Wound list. So 291 bands or artists on that list. So I had a few of them in there. I decided to show you a Terrier Ripdoll record. Ripdoll is I think he is from Sweden, and, or maybe Norway. It looks like this was recorded in Oslo. Scandinavian guitarist. This was recorded, I think, in 1976. So, yeah, this is one of the artists that Nurse with Wound listed. So he is a guitarist. Yeah. Terry Ripdoll. That was on ECM records. And a record with a toy instrument. This is the toughest one for me. I'm just not really sure I have any records with toy instruments, but I am going to call a kazoo a toy instrument. This seems like it's something that just about any kid could pick up and play a kazoo. On this record, everybody, all the artists have like names. I guess they were given for this record or something like Herbie Hancock is called Mwandishi. And Wiley, Benny Maupin, plays the humazoo on this record. Toy instrument, the kazoo. So yeah, Herbie Hancock's Sextant album on Columbia Records. Yep. So that's it. There's my response to this experimental tag. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming up with these questions, Alex. Yeah, it took a little bit of research to come up with these, but I think most of these fit, or kind of do anyway. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think about these records and or these artists, and I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks very much for watching.